July 20 marks 40 years since Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong made history by becoming the first humans to walk on the moon. In his new book, Magnificent Desolation, The Long Journey Home from the Moon, Aldrin opens up about the Apollo 11 mission and the hardships he faced after he returned to Earth. Joining me now, here in New York, Mr. Buzz Aldrin. How are you, sir?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you, sir.
Be here.
Before we start talking about the things that are currently going on with NASA and going up to the moon and everything else, you and I had lunch, what was it, 2 years ago?
I think so.
Yeah, about 2 years ago. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was fascinated. We're both recovering alcoholics.
Right.
And fascinated because I had never thought of, when you go to the moon, there really isn't anything that beats that experience. You know what I mean? You go to the moon and you're like, ah, man, I walked on that. And you came back and it really messed with your mind and you really had a hard time, right?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the trip to the moon and back. It's the fact that I was so structured, young, 17, going to West Point, very structured life, in the Air Force, in combat, then other tours, supersonic fighters, nuclear weapon delivery into Eastern Europe. MIT is pretty structured after being away from education, working on a doctor's degree, choosing just the right subject, getting into NASA.
My gosh. All by the time you were, how old were you when you went to the moon?
39.
39
But it
years
was
old.
pretty active life up to that
Did
point.
you think, when you were on the moon and Neil was, going down the ladder, did you think, just as a joke, I'm going to close the hatch and say, see ya? No, you didn't.
No.
All right, I just wondered. Let me talk to you a little bit about, we just launched where we've sent what looks like an old Atlas rocket back up to the moon. Why are we doing that?
It's pretty new Atlas rocket. It's one of the Air Force rockets for EELVs, and it may deliver some humans, hopefully, in a runway landing.
Why are we
But it's got Russian engines on it.
It does not.
Yes, it does. But that's another story.
Yeah. Why are we going to the moon?
Well, because it looked as though when we got to a fork in the road caused by the Columbia accident, which left us with only 3 orbiters, we had to make a change. Before that accident, we were going to fly the space shuttle till 2020, 2025. But immediately after that, it's going to change. We only have 3. So the name of the game is to retire the orbiter as soon as possible, finish the space station, that's our commitment, and then see how rapidly we can transition.
Is it a staging area to go to like Mars, or is this, what do we do?
It's exploration. It's out of low Earth orbit, which we've been doing for a long time.
But you think we should go to Mars?
Yes.
Why?
Because the pathway to the moon that we have charted out has caused me and a number of other people to think that maybe the implementation that we have right now and the cost of doing that with 2 boosters, not 1, 2 boosters, and a big lander, it puts us in a position of very expensive, resource-consuming activity of developing these quite new. They're not shuttle-derived particularly. They deviated from that pretty soon, the 2 boosters we have. And the lander, sort of looks like what we did before, but much, much bigger. And it doesn't really contribute to Mars landings in the future. I don't see where going to the moon right now really contributes that much. Sure, there's going to be long duration stays, 6 months, but when you go to Mars, you got to stay for a year and a half if you're not going to be staying even longer than that as a permanent settlement.
Would you go to Mars?
I'm not the type for long duration.
What does that mean?
I've just learned that I have a personality that inquires and looks into things, and probably
I'd go insane.
Yeah,
I'd go insane.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're just crowd mixers. They're real close mixers, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm a short duration guy. But that doesn't mean I don't know
Right.
what it takes and aware of the personalities
Sure.
that are needed, and the number of people that, if asked, would really just love to go to Mars and make it a career out of themselves. Well, I think that they're just like the Pilgrims on the Mayflower.
Yeah.
It didn't hang around Plymouth Rock looking for the return trip.
Right.
We need to start thinking about a commitment to permanence on Mars. If we're not really ready to do that, then I don't think we're ready to spend all that money to really go anywhere. And I'd like to see us lead by helping the internationals who want to send their humans to the moon, and we can send our robots and take advantage of development
Right.
of commercial products
Right.
of sorts that
Buzz,
can pay for habitation.
I have to tell you, it's a great book, by the way. It's great to know your life story, and it is always a thrill to see you, sir.
30 years.
Congratulations. 30 years. Congratulations, sir. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back in a second.